Yeah, we've spoken about that before, really, about what we need, but here's a sort of a thought. So, what about looking the other way around? 'Cause clearly, some players are going to leave because we've got a couple of weeks till the end of the transfer window. There's players rumoured to be leaving. Welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. As the season has just kicked off, we just had our first championship game, 0-0 draw away at Sheffield United. We felt it was a good time just to do a very quick, unscripted podcast, just to talk about what's on our mind. And there's a few little things to probably discuss today in the podcast. I want to sort of maybe start with the transfer window so far. Last time we did an unscripted, we'd brought in Solis, Dale Fry, and we'd brought in James Beadle. But since then, since the last one, we've brought in Lund, Vasquez, and recently Max Bird. So what's your assessment of the transfer window so far for Birmingham City?
I think it's been quite a mature approach. It's going for consistency. As Davies says in his interviews, it's going for quality over quantity, because we've seen two completely different rebuilds over the last 2 years prior to this one, haven't we? A League One rebuild and then back in the Championship. So how many was turned over in those 2 seasons? 40 odd.
Yeah, I think Chris Davies mentioned 41 player turnover.
You can't keep doing that every season and expect to get results. So actually, I think what we saw at Bramall Lane was a product of a slightly calmer transfer window, but regular faces that we ended the season with last year. And a lot of the comments are from the Sheffield United game. Definitely positives to take and to build on. It wasn't perfect. We all know it wasn't perfect, but I think that level of consistency is going to help us this season, I think. And I only think we're three-ish players away from being a really competitive team this year. If we want to list them, I think we need a left winger, I think we need a 10, and I think we need a 6 as well.
Yeah, we've spoken about that before, really, about what we need, but here's a sort of a thought. So what about looking the other way around? 'Cause clearly, some players are going to leave because we've got a couple of weeks till the end of the transfer window. There's players rumoured to be leaving, but if I throw a few names at you in terms of the players I've got that could potentially leave or be sent out on loan, it's highly likely that Marvin Dutch will be gone. He's had no part to play in any of the competitive games so far. Apparently, he's back to fitness, so maybe he's in a position now where we can look at something there. Lee Buchanan possibly maybe going out on loan. That's been muted as well. Fujimoto's a difficult one because he doesn't play at all hardly last season, has some fairly good appearances in pre-season, and then he's not picked as soon as we get to competitive games again. So I think he could be vulnerable. And also, speculation at the moment, he's really sort of prominent on Patrick Roberts as well.
So my comment there about 3-ish players away from a decent squad is assuming that no one leaves. So if we do end up finding more gaps, of course, we're going to have to recruit in more players. And players are going to go before the end of the transfer window, absolutely. Some interesting names you've thrown in there. I don't think anyone would have expected Patrick Roberts to be on the name of the list.
What do you think's gone on there? Because he was, last season he was good for us, very good. We made him permanent, so it seems weird that we have him on loan, and then we fight to try and buy him permanently, and then we get him permanently. We don't use him. It seems a little bit strange. So what's your thoughts on that?
There seems to be two trails of thought on this, doesn't there? There seems to be it's just a squad decision. And then there's the other side that says actually there's something gone on behind the scenes, but actually his brother came out on social media and said that's a load of rubbish. So
don't spread fake news. So that quashes that. So
100% exactly. So all I'm going to say on that is I think Patrick Roberts is a fantastic player, and I want to see him earn his place back at Blues. I don't want to see him go to another championship team. I think he's a tremendous talent, and I really rate him. So I would like to see him back in the team. I'm not saying that he should overtake Vicente. I'm just saying that I would like to see him get more minutes on the pitch because he's got a wonderful left foot. He can beat a player. He's creative. And I think sometimes in certain games, I think he's exactly what we need.
I think Sheffield United, we could have used him. Yeah. That's why I find it strange. So I saw that argument as well about the fact that when we were beating Swansea, we wanted someone who was defensively better because we were holding on to a lead. But then the other side of that argument is, well, when we were chasing a win, that he's the type of player that you'd surely bring on to replace Vicente. And that didn't happen. So I wonder what's gone on there in terms of, because Chris Davies obviously rated him because we brought him in permanently.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens with that, but something's happened there.
I'll be gutted if he goes.
Yeah, me too. So Fujimoto's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, I don't really want to talk about speculation in terms of players that have been linked to us, but because it is speculation, we've seen all through the transfer window, haven't we, Matt, players being linked and nothing's come of it. But if those, say, 4 do go, or maybe others go as well, plus you reckon we need 3, which I agree with. There might be I think it's going to be. I think this time it's going to be more of a hectic end to the transfer window than we've had for a few seasons. We've done our business early, haven't we?
We have.
And bought 1 or 2. You know, obviously the Stano signing a few seasons ago was right up to the line.
That'll never be topped, that will.
No, it won't. But,
Tom Wagner turning in his chair.
Yeah, but I think that we'll do some business, and I think some of these players will need to move on for themselves, really, their own careers. And if they don't want to be here, then if any of them don't, then they shouldn't be here. We don't want to playing for us like that.
And that's a valid point. I don't want anyone playing for Blues who doesn't actually want to be here. Simple as that. Never want anyone who's not going to give 100% for this football club. So if that is ever the case, then.
Yeah, I quite like the look of. Well, I do like. In terms of the players that we've bought in, I do like the look of the signings that we bought in. The profile of them has been exactly what we've needed, isn't it? So James Beadle as well. We mentioned this in the Sheffield United post-match podcast. You mentioned he looks like a different player, a little bit more, stocky, and
there's something different.
His attitude slightly a bit more mature, I think, and and it's good to see the Blues fans getting behind him. So I think he's a good signing. We haven't seen Dale Fry yet, but I think he's going to have to earn his place because Clara and Neumann have started the season well.
Dad, I remember seeing him at the Barcelona game. Though he is a mountain of a man.
He'll get his chance.
Absolutely humongous.
He'll get his chance, Matt. Yeah. I mean, it's a long season, and he's going to get his chance. And
but Dad, at the minute, Clara and Neumann outstanding.
Yeah, and I think Dale Fry will know that he's going to have to bide his time a little bit, and then wait for Clara to get sent off. You won't be waiting long, Dale. No, but he will do. I think that's the right attitude. You don't just bring a player in, because I think Neumann for me has been, I mentioned again in the Sheffield United post match that he's the player. Looks like the player that we thought we were going to get at the beginning of last season. He's been
really good,
very well. So that's really good. We haven't seen Lund yet because Cochrane's been doing well at left back. Vasquez has come on for a few little
I like him.
Pieces. He's a bit physical.
I like the way he throws himself about. Even against Barcelona and Swansea when he's only on the pitch for 10 or 15 minutes, there's something about him I like.
Yeah.
I like those kind of players that just want to get on the pitch and ruffle some feathers.
Well, Max Bird made his debut, didn't he? Came on 20 minutes to go at Sheffield United, and then he even there was a few little good touches from him. Of course, you need to see him in a few games, of course, first, but he could be a really good signing for us as well. So I think we've done well so far in the transfer window. I didn't want this conversation to dominate the transfer window, but of course it's relevant because it's only 2 weeks to its left. We probably won't do another Unscripted now until after the transfer window's closed. But interesting. I think it's going to be quite an exciting end to the transfer window.
Yeah.
There's something in the back of my mind thinks that we've got a few cards up our sleeves, and
Do you think?
I think so. I think there'll be. I think we'll make. We always try and make a surprise signing, don't we? And we'll see. Yeah. But I'm satisfied so far with what we've done. I like the look at the way we are shaping up against the Sheffield United and Swansea previously. So all looking good.
Do you agree on? Again, we will move on from this swiftly to not let the transfer window dominate the conversation. But do you agree on a left mid 10 and possibly a number 6 again?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The left mid is. I mean, we saw that again. That brings us on to another topic of conversation actually, because I've just sort of in my mind thought of something that I think we need to address. It's just the we've seen in the previous games about Stano playing on the left, and Damari Gray's been on the bench, and I think again with hindsight I've thought about this as well. And it's not a criticism of players, by the way, but Chris Davies has his favourites. There's no doubt, and I think sometimes to bring all of the players that he wants, Paik, Iwata, Stano, to get them all in the same side. Now, previously he was playing Iwata at right back quite a lot last season. Because he can't replace Brightus or Sam at the moment, so there's no room for Iwata there.
No.
So therefore he has to go in midfield. But of course that means that displaces
all the bench.
Well, it displaces Paik. Right, because he'll put Iwata there, because he can't drop Solis either. That means Iwata comes in, so therefore he puts Paik at number 10, who shouldn't be at number 10. And Stana, who should possibly be at number 10, is shifted over to the left. So actually, just by adding, and trying to sort of put and fit those players in, you're disrupting 3 or 4 different positions. And I think that's something that Chris Davies has got to look at,
Chemistry is a huge thing, Dad. And if you ain't got the chemistry and the flow in the team, that's a big, big part of football. And if you've got Stano on the left, Paik in the 10, and Iwata and Solis in the 60s, your chemistry automatically goes from a 10 to a 6. So we're not flowing the way that we should be flowing because players are completely out of position. And it's shoehorned and it looks shoehorned.
It does look shoehorned. If you just say for, and I'm not criticising, I'm not, because I think Iwata is a really solid player, particularly at championship level.
Yeah.
It was far too superior, I think, in that League One season with Paik, because that was the best midfield in that league. But let's say, for argument's sake, hypothetically, let's just say you did put Iwata on the bench, right? Okay, yeah, shock horror. But let's say you put Iwata on the bench, right? Then you can put Paik in that creative number 6. You can bring Stano into the number 10, which if he ain't going to be number 9, he's going to be number 10. Then you can put Damari Gray on the left. But
I can't believe you're saying that like it's a surprise. Everyone watching this video is going to be like, of course, that's the answer.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Just by putting Iwata on the bench, you fix 3 or 4 different positions in terms of the most appropriate players for those positions. Rumours as well that, not rumours, but I think that Max Bird will be looking at playing as a number 10 from what I've heard, which surprised us because when we did our profile of him when he first joined us, he was being trialled with Bristol City at a 10, but that wasn't his prominent position. He was more slightly deeper in midfield, wasn't he, as a creative midfield?
So whenever I've watched Bristol City games or seen highlights of their games or seen Max Bird at Bristol City, he's always been in the 6, playing as an 8. I've never seen him in the 10. That's just me personally. I mean, I'm not a Bristol City fan, so I can't say I watch a lot of their football or have over the years, but I occasionally watch highlights of teams and stuff. And Max Bird, for me, when we signed him, I thought he was going to be an 8 kind of player. But
time will tell with that. But I hope Chris Davies will, when he picks the team, put the players that are supposed to be in those positions, rather than say, okay, these 3 or 4 players, whoever they are, have got to be here, so I'll put them in. And I'll work around it. And that's what seems to be happening at the moment. And, as I say, just that one example. And again, I think I'm making it clear, I don't think Iwata's a bad player, actually. I think he's a good player. But let's say, hypothetically, you do put him on the bench. Suddenly, you've got a more, Paik as a more creative midfielder. You've got Stano in the 10, who maybe he's better at 9, but they're definitely on the left.
No, definitely not.
And then you've got Dimmy on the left. So, anyway, that's
Solis and Iwata are far too similar. And we saw in the first half against Sheffield United, we had no one in the middle of the park who could get on the ball and spray a pass.
Yeah.
Because they're good at what they do. They're break-up kind of players. But Solis, for me, is the better number 6. And we need Paik in there, or we need a Max Bird in there, or we need someone who can just get on the ball and drive it with a good through ball and pass. I mean, Solis can hold his own. Look at the ball he played to Vicente for him to go through. So he can play a pass as well. But Solis and Iwata, for me, they're too similar to be in that position. And again, I've made the argument before, away from home in a grungy game, it might work. But at Bramall Lane, it was pretty obvious after 20 minutes, we needed someone technical on the ball to play the ball forward.
That's a good point, actually. There will be some games where you do need more of a defensive midfield, just generally, for some games against some of the,
like West Ham
where you've got that creative midfielders.
A team's going to have a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
They're good then to break up
but if we want to score plenty of goals this season, we've got to be better at the creativity from the midfield. So that's sort of sorted out the transfer window, where we are with the squad at the moment. I'm sure Blues fans are going to have a lot of comments about this, so add them below. Let us know what your thoughts are. Since the last podcast, the new kits have been the one behind you obviously was the home kit, which is fairly simple, really, isn't it? But good, decent. I think it's a decent kit. I do. It didn't look very good when it was when they first advertised, when the first publicity came out. It looked a bit odd, didn't it?
You literally took the words out of my mouth. When I saw it online first, I didn't really get it, and then I saw it in person, and it is good quality, and I don't mind it as much anymore. I think the blue one is a decent kit. It's not my favourite over the past 2 or 3 seasons, but this is I love this yellow kit.
Yeah, I'm in dreamland in a yellow kit now. I think a lot of people have commented, when it was released, Gary's going to love it, and I do. It just looks right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks really good. I really like this kit. I mean, obviously, it's exactly the same as that kit, apart from it's yellow instead of blue, but it's sort of design. It's not different.
There's something about the
apart
yellow
from
and the blue.
The collar's different with this one. That's got more of a collar. And I think a lot of Blues fans said that when that was released. They didn't really like the collar. That was one of the main downfalls. But this has got, so it's just like a flat. So I think this is a better kit for me than that one. But I don't mind that one. I don't mind the home kit. But this is the one that I've been asking for 3 seasons.
It's not that deep, just personal preference. I went without the collar on this one. I think without the sponsor on the yellow, it looks really, really smart. But I'm not saying that doesn't. I'm just saying that.
Well, anything looks good on me. So I mean, you can't really comment, can you? But I do love yellow kit. People know that who watch the channel on a regular basis.
Yeah, so do I, to be fair.
And we know that there's been lots of reaction to the kits. We obviously have a third kit coming out. Nobody knows what that will be yet, but there's rumours it could be black that I've seen.
I've heard pink.
Pink, black, yeah.
Yeah.
It could be red or green.
Yeah.
We are guessing. We don't know. We don't know nothing. But because obviously it's just talk, really, isn't it? But time will tell. I don't think that'll be too far away either. The third kit. The other thing as well, Matt, and the only thing, last thing I've got to say, really, or just discuss, really, is that the opening weekend or set of fixtures. There is one more to play actually at the time of recording. Cardiff are at home to Wrexham this evening. Just about to kick off in about an hour or two time from the time of recording. So we don't know what the result of that is yet. But there's some real interesting results, I thought. Obviously, the first one was the Friday night, which was Wolves versus Blackburn, and everyone's expecting Wolves to run away with it. And you can't judge them on one game because it takes a few games to get going. But Blackburn were robbed, I think.
Harsh.
I don't think.
Harsh. I
think looking at it, I think that there was a handball and it was a free kick. But how can the referee confidently know from where he was standing? And because there's no VAR, is there, in this league? So how can the referee know that is actually in the, and it doesn't look like it's in the box to me.
With any decisions like that, whether it's a handball in the box, a penalty, you have to be beyond a reasonable doubt, don't you? And there's no way he looked at that and went, "That's definitely in the penalty box. Definitely couldn't have done it." It was a bit like when Newcastle scored against us. Do you remember when Bailey Peacock-Farrell was in goal, and it was like, that linesman could not have definitely known that was over because the technology wasn't working, was it? There's no way beyond a reasonable doubt.
I know what goal you're talking about. That's the one that they went 2-1 up.
Exactly.
Yeah. But for me, I mean, really, I mean, Blackburn. Everyone was expecting Blackburn to sort of have I thought that, from what I saw, they looked like they were half decent.
Yeah.
And Wolves, first game, isn't it? And they've obviously sort of getting off the cobwebs of last season, adjusting to the Championship. But it reminds me of what happened in our first game, because we were the Friday night game last season against Ipswich, and they had a late penalty against us. So Premier League team coming down to the Championship, losing by a goal. Okay, yeah, kind of that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what's happened, by the way, because I used to be a referee many years ago, and I know it's a tough job, but they've got to be better than that. Because I think that if there was VAR, I doubt very much whether that.
What goal was it as well? There was, West Brom at Norwich. Clearly puts the ball in with his hand.
Yeah.
And they don't flag it again.
And also as well, he was offside as well. If you look along the line,
Shocking,
he looked offside.
There was a couple of games where I saw this weekend, and I just thought the officials, they've got to sort this out. The standard isn't where it needs to be at the moment in the Championship. But we can't keep having conversations out of X amount of games, five errors a weekend. It's ridiculous.
But
it's probably more than that.
This is when you talk about the argument for how you get promoted in the Championship. It is about good players. It's about good tactics. It's about decent managers and all that. But it's also about luck a little bit, and it's also about decisions. Yeah. So let's say, for argument's sake, Blackburn, as is hypothetical Blackburn fans, just say they get relegated by 1 point. Then they'll look back to the first game of the season and think, well, if we'd have had that penalty hadn't been given, we'd have had 2 extra points. I know you can't do that, because it is right, and they say that that you are where you are in the table, and you deserve to be there because it's supposed to even itself out over the season. But it don't help, does it, when you get decisions like that?
What about the year we went down? Hull handballed the ball into the net, do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Again, I'm not saying we went down because that decision got allowed for Hull. A season is a lot of games, and you are where you deserve to be at the end of it. I'm just making a point. You
could argue that if we'd have got that, we'd have had 3 points. We only got relegated by 1 point. So we would have had 2 extra points. We got a draw in the end because Yuki scored first. Their equaliser was a clear and absolute handball. Yeah. So that ended up getting us 1 point instead of 3. But we only got relegated by 1 point. Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean that's by the by. But again, some other interesting results as well. Lincoln were 1-0 up at Middlesbrough, and Will Lancashire got 2 goals. One of them was in 90 plus minutes.
He's going to be a big player. He is for them.
He is as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the games, but some QPR looked good against.
They made some good signings, QPR.
Yeah. But they're the type of team that will do really well. I watched West Ham, Burnley West Ham yesterday.
Good game,
well.
Yeah,
well, I thought Burnley were dead and buried, but fair play to them. I mean, West Ham shown a little bit of an Achilles heel there. It's all right buying these players that are going to good midfielders, but you can't. I mean, you can't concede goals when you're 2-0 up away from home with was it 20 minutes left or something like that?
Well, credit to Burnley, though. They hug in there. And actually, they deserved the point. Arguably, you could have just thought they deserved all 3 by the end, because they were really piling the pressure on.
Yeah.
But that's what these teams do when they're from the Premier League. Who's that guy that scored the 2 Burnley goals? He's
Zian Fleming.
he's a good player. He's physical, throwing himself about, hit the post twice, I think.
He had about 8 chances.
Yeah,
Every time the ball went across,
He's a good player.
You have to watch him when we play them because he's a quality player.
But it just shows Turf Moor's not going to be an easy place to go this season, is it? And as you're right, I think it definitely showed a few weaknesses for West Ham, and they looked vulnerable to balls in the box.
Yeah, but again, they are going to be strong. He's
Of course
game,
they
isn't
will.
it? And actually, that's a tough game for West Ham in the Championship, playing against a fellow Premiership team last season.
Yeah.
So and a way to get a point is okay, but they lost it 2 points there by they had the game in the.
As a neutral, though, it's great to watch.
It is really good.
When you're watching those games and it's just end to end, and then
A game I didn't watch, but I saw the highlights of, and a real surprise was Watford beating Southampton. I think not a lot of people expected that, but fair play to Watford. They look really good. I think Southampton are expected to do well this season. Of course, they are -4 points to start with, so they've got to wipe that out quickly. But like you say, West Brom beating Norwich was a surprise. That was interesting. One of those games where Norwich had loads and loads of chances.
Yeah.
And West Brom won with that goal that shouldn't have been a goal.
Every single chance was Norwich's, except the goals that West Brom scored. So it just shows you, it doesn't matter how many chances you get, it's the ones you put in there. I know it's a really obvious thing to say, but it's true, isn't it? You can get battered for 90 minutes, go up and get a cheeky goal and win the game.
Yeah. No, that's something. It was nice to see the full program back and see. Obviously, we got that one game tonight, so obviously we can't comment on that now because obviously we don't know the result. And obviously Bolton winning on their return to the Championship as well.
Bristol City losing again, no goals.
They lost at home to Millwall, who I think are going to be good again this season, and Swansea beating Stoke away. And Derby Charlton coming from behind against Derby to win 2-1. But yeah, interesting set of results. But quite exciting to think. Well, this is the teams that we'll be playing now. But
it's great as well. Friday night, Wolves, Blackburn. Then we in Sheffield on Saturday for the game. Sunday, West Ham. Tonight's Wrexham versus Cardiff. Cardiff, Wrexham. Sorry, that way around. It's just like, football's back.
Yeah,
it's back, and I just love it. And I'm looking forward. As I said, when we finish this, I'll probably edit this video, sit down with a beer, and maybe watch the Cardiff Wrexham games. That'd be nice.
Well, I'm going to watch it after this anyway, and that's a good note to finish because I want to get home and watch it. So that's it for us Blues fans. That's what we think at the moment. A few things we've spoken about there in terms of the transfer window. The season, the kits, and all that type of thing. So, as always, love to have your thoughts. So, add your comments below. Let us know what you think. If you're a fan of another club and you've come across the podcast, we welcome comments from opposing teams' fans. And all we ask, and we say this every single podcast, is there any comments on this channel, because we are a family channel, are respectful. So, no foul and abusive language, aggressive behaviour, or insulting or aggressive remarks. So, if you did like the podcast, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you'd like to watch or listen to your podcasts on Spotify, you find us on there as well. And the handles appearing on the screen for all these channels right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you'd like to, and there really is no obligation to do so, but if you would like to subscribe, hit the big red subscribe button. And if you hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button, you'll get notified every time myself and Matt put out a brand new podcast. So that's it for this one. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.